Hi, Annie here, and today I thought I would talk to you about some of my favorite UK panel comedy type shows. Now, this is part of a series I'm doing where I'm putting out a new video almost every day in September, so please subscribe if you haven't already to make sure you get my next one, and be sure to leave a comment about some of your favorites at the end. So I'm just going to jump right in, and one of my top favorite ones ever has to be Would I Lie to You? Now, this is a show that is now hosted by Rob Brydon, and the team captains are Lee Mack and David Mitchell, both of who I love, especially on this show and when they're together. But this show has each of Lee Mack and David Mitchell have a team of two other kind of celebrities or kind of personalities of the moment, often comedians, and they get given like a story comes up that they've got to read, and then the other team has to try to guess whether that really happened to them or if it didn't. Now, they get to ask questions along the way to see if they can, weasel out what might actually be the case, but it's pretty evenly matched often, except when it comes to Lee. I mean, his stories are just ridiculous, but it's so great to see. That's like probably one of my favorite parts of the show, even though you kind of know where that's headed. It is a great part of the show. But this is something I really like. I like the stories that come out when they turn out to be true. Oftentimes they're kind of weird off-the-wall stories about these other comedians. And yeah, it's just, again, it's like a nice, really relaxing show to watch. It's a nice end of the day show if you're wanting like something that just isn't going to be heavy news or anything like that. So it is something I like. I've been watching it for quite a long time now, but it's been getting harder and harder to find on YouTube and the like, which is a shame because it really is a great show. The next one I'm going to mention is also kind of in that vein, and that is 8 out of 10 Cats. Now, this is more of a current affairs comedy show. It is hosted by Jimmy Carr, who I don't know how many people over here kind of are as aware of him, but in the UK, he's certainly kind of like a staple personality, or so it would seem. Sean Locke is one team captain, and John Richardson is the other. Now, those two guys are quite opposite, and so that leads for some good kind of banter. There's also then two other comedians on each team where they try to guess the popular news stories of the week and kind of make jokes about current things going on, or this kind of like, current politicians and this kind of thing. It is another one that is kind of, it isn't as light as Would I Lie to You, because they are dealing kind of all the time with these kind of political issues, and a lot of times like the really stupid kind of things that happen that make those big news stories. That's not always the most relaxing, but it is often funny. It can be informative at times, or it certainly send me in a direction to look more information up. I don't actually take like news facts from a comedy show, but it does sometimes send me off in a direction to look more up, and sometimes the points that are made are quite like sharp and really doing a good job at poking fun or pointing out how stupid some of those kind of things are that happen in that kind of like news arena. So that's another one I like. They also do 8 out of 10 Cats does Countdown. Now, that's one that doesn't really deal with the politics. I have a feeling it's filmed like ages in advance to when it airs, but it just kind of, it was supposed to be, I believe, a one-off special, and then it ended up turning into like a whole thing. And it is, again, the same team captains as on 8 out of 10 Cats usually, and then they have another comedian that plays Countdown with them. And it is really quite fun. It's another one I love watching at the end of the day, just to kind of like have something a bit stimulating, but nothing that's going to like kind of really keep me awake all night, or that kind of keep me up extra at all. That's another one I really like. Again, these shows have been getting increasingly difficult to find with any regularity on YouTube. And if anybody knows like where these things stream over here, I'd love to know, because I just don't know, and it's sometimes really hard to find like that information if you're not part of the service, and I don't want to just join services willy-nilly to find kind of where something might be located. But if you know, I'd love to hear. But those three are really excellent. The next one I wanted to talk about was The Last Leg. This was a show that started after, or right around the London Olympics. It actually is hosted by Adam Hill, who is a great comedian and also happens to be an amputee. Oh my gosh, I can't think of the guys. There's Josh, oh gosh, I'm drawing a total blank on these names right now. Oh, how awful. They also have, like, the couch is kind of staffed by Josh, who is an able-bodied person, and I can't think of the other guy's name right now, which is horrible because I was just talking about him earlier today. I'm going to try to put it on the screen. Hopefully fancy editing doesn't get the better of me. If not, it'll be in the top line of the description box. Be like, this is who it was. But he also is disabled in that he has, I don't know, he has like extremal deformities, but I'm not sure that's actually ever been addressed or anything like that. It's not really important. Anyway, it came about while they were trying to talk about during the Olympic Games and the Paralympics, just trying to bring more kind of attention or kind of better awareness to news stories during the Olympics, and it continued afterwards. It was a really excellently done series. It's very political. It does kind of go not half-heartedly after people they think that are maybe a bit stupid or have done very stupid things. They do not mince their words there, but I feel like overall they are respectful of they are more generally respectful than some shows of the people that maybe feel that way. Not of the politicians, because I think they just hold them to higher standard, but in general, like, they seem to have, like, a respect for people that might feel that way or try to understand why that has been the case, unless, you know, it's, like, really, like, kind of an extreme hate that the other side has. So that's a show I really like. Again, it is, like, much heavier than the other ones I've mentioned so far. It is much more kind of issue-based, but it is really, really interesting. And if that's not one you're watching or have ever seen, I really highly recommend it. They don't just deal with disability issues, although that was kind of what the show was founded on. It is something that has broadened to just talk about, like, issues facing people in the UK primarily, but it does often the topics kind of are things that other countries are also struggling with, so it's interesting to hear that perspective. So the next show I wanted to mention here was QI. This is kind of like an iconic British panel show hosted by Stephen Fry. Has comedians on both teams that try to guess at, like, the fact or thing that he is describing. The QI is short for quite interesting. It is a much more kind of overall, I wouldn't say soft, because it is definitely like a fact-based show, and it is something that you are going to learn stuff watching it, but it is like a bit of a calmer type comedy panel show generally speaking. It's not super rowdy or anything like this, so if you are looking for something that just kind of is to go in the background or just to listen to later at night, it is again a nice choice, although you really can't get away from the fact that they do kind of throw a lot of learning at you some weeks more than others, but it is an interesting show to watch, and it is one I enjoy. And I believe that Stephen Fry is now kind of leaving the show. Each series is like, so there's series A, which is one, and then it goes on and on. I don't know what they're up to right now, but I know there has been a series M, I believe. So they're quite a ways into the alphabet and have done quite a number of episodes. So lots of stuff there to kind of look for if you're interested in watching that. And many of them are on YouTube, or at least they were at different points. I know some of those go up and down as well. One of the other ones I wanted to mention here as well was A League of Their Own, which is hosted by James Corden. I don't know if they're still making them now that he's doing his nighttime talk show in America, but it is one that I really kind of it was more of like a rambunctious lads time type show. Jack Whitehall was one of the panel people, one of the regulars kind of on the show, as was Freddie Flintoff, and I want to say Stephen Jarrett, but I'm not sure. I feel like that's not the right name. I can't think right now. Again, I'll try to correct it on the screen if I just get in all these names boggled together, but it's kind of like a laddish, fun show. James Corden you can see why he was considered for the job in America, and the show there is definitely like a more polished, kind of less laddish version of this one. Jack Whitehall and him are always funny together. And speaking of that, actually, one that I wasn't even going to mention is the Big Fat Quiz of the Year, which they've both done at different points, but it's also hosted by Jimmy Carr. But that's another one that is well worth looking up if you haven't seen it before. It's a longer one that's done once a year for the end of the year kind of review and like a New Year's special. It's really fun, and again, something I look forward to seeing every year. There we have it. Those are some of my favorite UK panel / comedy shows. I'd love to hear what yours are below, and if you have any recommendations, because I'm always looking for new ones, especially if they're easy to get, you know, kind of access to here in Canada, but I'm pretty much will look around for anything. Please let me know if you have any recommendations for me. I'd love to hear them, and subscribe if you haven't already. I am putting out, as I mentioned at the top of the video, I'm putting out a new video pretty much every day here in September, so that's been pretty exciting for me, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments and all that. I usually put out videos on TV and movie related things. My musical series is going up every Wednesday this month, and a couple more scattered throughout, but and this month more than usual, I'm putting out a little bit more lifestyle stuff and a little bit more arts and a little bit more crafting type stuff, but generally it's movies and TV kind of broadly overall. So subscribe if you're interested in seeing more of that, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!